Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat. Pick up a loom or hook and make a hat. If a hat is not what they will need, then something else will do. 'Cause a homemade gift that comes from you says, I love you and God bless you. Hello and welcome back to Living Creative with Pixie Princess. I'm Jaydell and we are starting our series on making September a Christmas to remember, because we are making our homemade Christmas gifts because you need to start early if you want to have them ready in time. So in this episode, I'm going to show you how to knit this hat on the loom. So stay tuned. Okay, let's get started making this hat. What you will need is a 36 peg round loom wide gauge, and you're going to need a bulky weight yarn. I am using a bulky 5. This is Charisma by Loops and Thread, which you can get at Michael's. I love this for the loom. It's one of my favorite for the loom, and I'm using the color Sky Tweed. And you will need your loom knitting tool. You will need some scissors. I recommend you have a measuring tape. And then you will need a darning needle to bind off and to weave in the ends. So let's get started with our cast on. Could not find the center, so I'm just going to pull from the outside if I can find that. This yarn. I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm pulling from the outside because I have a hard time getting the center pull. So what you're going to do is make a slip knot. This is how I make mine. And you're going to attach it to the anchor peg. That's the peg that's on the outside here. And to keep this brim from being very wavy at the ends, this is what I'm going to do, because I'm not going to do a folded brim. You're going to wrap a peg and then half wrap it and knit off. We're just going to do one peg at a time. To me, this will make it a tighter edge, and then there's going to be one more step to this cast on. So just do this all the way around, and I'm going to speed up, and I will meet you back when we get back to the anchor peg. Okay, we're almost full circle here. 2 more pegs to go. Okay, let's get this last one here. Now I'm going to do a two-step to the cast on here. So now we're just going to do a knit stitch all the way around the loom. And we're just going to loosely hold the yarn above the stitches that we just knit and knit over the yarn that's stretching across the pegs. And what I'm hoping to get here is a nice tight beginner, because we're going to fold this brim up, but we're not doing it on the loom. We're just going to knit the body of the hat from this point on. So continue doing this. Knit stitch here, you just lay the yarn across the top knit the loops that you just knitted over the yarn that's laying across the top. So I will meet you back when we get back to the anchor peg. Okay, we are almost there, and after this we've done the hardest part of this project. And then from now on, after we do this, it's gonna be 2 stitches. We're gonna do a E-wrap and a purl stitch, and we're gonna do that throughout the duration of this project. So once you get that down, this project is gonna be super easy. So once you have cast on that 2-step process, this can be a little tricky. I'm taking the slip stitch off of the anchor peg. So now, I'm not marking my pegs because I'm going to do it this way and it's not going to change throughout the project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to E-wrap this first peg here. It's wrapped. And then I'm going to go to the next peg and I'm going to purl stitch. And purling is going underneath and pulling it off, putting the new loop on. The next one's going to get an E-wrap. The next one a purl. Let me do a couple more and then I'm going to speed it up. So after you do your purl, you do the next one E-wrap. Don't do anything to it because this is going to help you keep track of your pegs. And then the next one, you're going to purl. So E-wrap and then purl. And again, purling is taking your hook above the loop that's on the peg, going down, scooping up some of the yarn from your working yarn, making a new loop. Take the existing loop off, put the new loop on. So I'm going to continue around. And I'm going to speed this up and then you can meet me back when I get to the anchor peg. Okay, I am almost at the beginning point where the anchor peg is. And the anchor peg serves as a marker to know when you've come full circle. And as you can see, I had a difficult time with a couple of the purl stitches when I had to take the existing loop off of the peg. They were very tight and didn't want to come off. Okay, so we've done that. So now, there's no more wrapping just right now. You're going to go back and all the ones that you E-wrap, you're just going to knit off. So this is a great way of keeping track of the pegs and the stitches that you were on. Get that working yarn out of the way. And you're just going to knit off every peg that has 2 loops on it. And make sure you catch all the strands in your yarn. You're using a bulky weight yarn and sometimes it has little multiple strands that like to separate, so just watch that and be mindful of it and knit. So if you can do this, you know, knitting a peg, purling a peg, then you've got all you need to do to make this. Actually, the cast on is the hardest part. So I've knitted off that last one. So we're just going to repeat what I just did. We're going to wrap, purl, all the way around, and then we're going to knit all of the pegs that have 2 loops on it, and just continue and continue and continue. You want to knit until your hat measures about 8 or 9 inches. You're going to make a little brim folded up. So if you want it to be slouchy, you can make it that. Sometimes if you're making it for yourself or you're someone that's about the same size head as you, you can try it on as you're going when, you know, the project is being knitted on. So just keep going. If you need to rewind and watch this, and keep knitting until you get to the size hat that you want, and then come back and I'll show you how to bind off and cinch your hat up. So enjoy your knitting, and I'll be back to show you how to finish your project. Have fun. Okay, so I have gone 41 rounds. I'm going to go one more round, and I want to show you another little thing. Remember, we were wrapping, purling. So I'm going to do this last round, and you can choose how you want to do it. I'm going to go ahead and knit it, and you can decide which one is faster for you. And then I purl. So knit and purl, knit, go ahead and knit it, and purl, wrap and knit, purl, wrap and knit, purl. So that's the other option. If you find this way easier to wrap it, don't purl it yet, don't go ahead and do the next purl, wrap it, purl, wrap it, purl, and then after you go all the way around, you come back and knit the ones you wrap by pulling the bottom loop over the top, over and over. So you decide which one is best for you. Wrapping, knitting, then purling, or wrap, knit, wrap, knit all the way around, and then going back and purling the ones that have 2 loops. So I'm going to finish this round. I'm going to speed this up. So you decide how you want to do yours. And you can do both ways to see which one is faster for you. I think wrapping and knitting is a little bit faster for me. But sometimes if you don't want to mark your pegs, wrapping, then knitting, and then going back and knitting the ones that are wrapped is an easy way to keep track of, you know, your knits and purls without marking your pegs. So I'm going to speed this up. I'm almost there, so it won't take long. Okay, I'm down to my last one, and I'm doing a purl. So for me, that was a total of 42. I did my 42 tallies. Pen is not working, but I did 42 rows. And let's give that a quick measure. Go to the top. And it's not going to lie flat, so you're not going to get an exact measurement. It's about 11 inches. All right, so now it's time to bind it off. So to do that, you're going to take your working yarn and you want to wrap it around all the way to the beginning and a little bit more, about halfway there. And then you're going to snip it off. So get our working yarn out of the way. Now, let that loose. You have 2 options here. You can thread this in your needle, or you can continue to use your hook. I'm going to use the hook for now. So what you do is like you were going to do a pearl, you go under and you pull up a loop from that, but instead of taking it off and putting it on, you're just going to take it all the way through like that. So like you were going to pearl, pull up the loop, but pull it all the way through. We do that one more time. So we've done 2. Pull it all the way through. Pull up the thread. Pull it all the way through. Make this a little shorter. Or you can take your thread, your yarn, and thread it on a darning needle. You can use the plastic ones or the metal. I like the metal best. But either one's fine. They both do the job. I just like handling the metal. Okay, so instead of using that, you just take your needle and pull it through and then pull it up. Go under the loop through the one that's on your peg. I personally like doing this with the loom pick, and you can start removing them as you go, and that'll kind of loosen it up a little bit and make it easier. Okay, and then we go to the next one. The next one. And I'm going to take these off, and I think I'm going to go back to my pick because to me I think it's easier, but do what suits you best. I may go back to the needle at the very end because we're going to need our needle to weave in everything. You can take them off as you go now because we're done with our knitting. At this point you can probably just take it off by your fingers after you've threaded it through, because it's loose enough. Okay. Hope you can see this very well. So once you pull it through, take it off the peg. But, just, relax. Listen to some music, watch a movie. This is a very simple stitch. You're E-wrapping and purling the whole project. The cast on and then taking it off. And you have the 2 options, doing it like I'm doing here with the loom pick, which is my preferred method of taking it off when you're just, taking it off in this method. Or you can use the needle. Let me go back to the needle and show you a little more of that. I'm going to use the plastic one just to show you that it doesn't really matter which one you use. I'm going to cut this a little bit because I think I have a little much that I need. Let's see. I'm going snip that off, but I'm going to use that. Oop, I didn't cut too much off. Alright, so I'm going to use I think this one came with one of my looms. I've already pulled that one through. Okay. So if you buy a loom, they come with the needles. I mean, it's not necessary to go out and buy new ones. I just prefer the metal ones for some reason. But see, this one works just fine. So if you're just starting out, you don't have to go buy more tools to get you started. But, you know, later on you might feel like you would like to use a metal one. So it's just preference. They both work. Okay. It's off the loom. And we've got this long piece of material. Can you see it? It's time to cinch it up. Okay. So we're just going to kind of carefully on the top, I'm going to try to get it where you can see it. Just pull that. Okay. Now, if you want to make a palm, don't cinch it all the way yet. If you're not going to put a palm on it, go ahead and close it all the way. But I'm just going to stick that inside for now. And I'm going to turn my hat inside out. Cinch it just a little bit more. And I'm going to take the hat, put it to the side because we're going to make a palm. Remember that piece of string I cut off? You're going to need that. So, you're just going to take some yarn. Get it unknotted here. This is a simple way, and when I make a crochet hat, I may show you how to make one using a pom-pom maker. But again, you don't have to go buy those. I had pom-pom makers that came with my first set of looms, so that was very nice. I like that. But you don't have to have them. Okay, so all I'm going to do is wrap this around my hand like this. Just several times. You see that? You just want to make it nice and thick. But don't do it too tight because you need to be able to get it off your fingers. You can also, use a CD if you want, like a CD case. Sorry if I shook the camera. If you want to make a big one. Or like a paper towel roller. Or anything like that. I'm not going to make this too much bigger. Just try to get it kind of even on all sides. I think that's about good, so I'm going to snip it off. And then just slide it off your fingers, like so. Now that piece of yarn that we had earlier, get that out of the way. You're going to tie this like so. Make it nice and tight. Okay, I just double knot that. You want to keep that nice and secure. There. So now what you're going to do is kind of snip these out right here. Make sure you have some good sharp scissors. So just cut all the loops. Like so. Make sure you're getting down in the bottom here. Ah! Okay, I think I cut my string, but that's okay. All right, so fluff it up a little bit, and then you're going to give it a little trim. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, this is homemade. You can buy pre-made pom-poms if you like. I have purchased a couple of faux furs, which they're nice on certain hats. All right. And then I'm just going to fluff it just a little bit and get all that fuzz out of the way. So now, let's bring our hat back. And you're going to stick it inside of your hat. Remember, your hat's inside out right now. And then you're going to pull that. So now, where we were cinching up our hat, you're going to cinch it up all the way. Pull it nice and tight. And then I think I accidentally cut my string on the where I tied my pom-pom together, but this will work. So I'm going to tie that to the string where I cinched it up. So now we're going to weave this in to make it nice and secure. Secure the pom-pom and secure the hole in the top of the hat. I'm just kind of going in a circular motion right here. I'm going to go all the way around. And then I'm just going to kind of weave it in. Okay, and then the pom-pom tail. Normally you have two, but I accidentally cut that. I do apologize. Okay, and then you're just going to weave that in. I just kind of like to go back and forth. At least 3 times. I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to cinch it in right here. There we go. I'm going to pull that even tighter, and I'm going to tie one more knot just to make sure it is nice and secure. If all of that's on camera. Now we're going to snip this off. This is the inside of the hat now. Now we're going to turn it back. And if you feel like your pom-pom needs a little more trimming, you can certainly do that. Now we've got this little fella down here. And we need to tie in his tail. So I'm just going to go right in here where this little knit row is, and just kind of go in and out. And then I'm going to go back through the little purl row right here. Then I'm going to go this way and up and back through. And I'm going to snip. Stretch out. And then you can have a little brim right here. If you have a little tag you want to sew it up, but I would just leave it like this, and then they can make the brim how they want it. But there's your hat. Like I said, you can trim up that pom-pom a little more if you like. But I think this is a beautiful hat. I love this color. This was the sky tweed. So there you have it. So if you like this hat and you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Let me know if you make this hat. I'd love to see your pictures. If you would post them for me, that would be lovely. But share this on social media so your friends can see it. And until the next one, God bless.